Hey guys, what's up? It's Rygar the Destroyer, and today I wanted to do something kind of special. I opened up some toys, and this little toy catalog fell out, and it instantly brought me back to when I was a kid. Now, I do have a slight confession to make. This particular toy catalog came out the year that I was born, 1997, so I don't have any nostalgia for this particular one, but I went and I dug up some of the ones that I do have a lot of nostalgia for, the Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith toys. So I wanted to look at all of these, and I know that some of you do actually have nostalgia for this era of toys, so I figured let's go ahead and take a look at them and kind of see some interesting things in there. And you know, of course, not every toy I ever played with was brand new. So there is some stuff in here that I do recognize from when I was a kid. So let's go ahead and take a look. So right here on the front, this one here definitely looks like the 1990s. I mean, with all the colors and the Kenner logo. That's kind of crazy to see because that pretty much was gone, not too much later. So right here on the front, we have the sort of awful Power of the Force figures. I mean, like, look how buff they made him, and look at Darth Vader has really been hitting the gym. But there are some figures from this line that are passable. So you just have to cherry pick those from the line. Some plushies here, some like play sets and different things. Like I said, I don't have a lot of nostalgia for this era of toys, but there is some cool stuff in here. I've always liked the design of this ship here. Someday I'll try and pick it up. And then this is one of the greatest Star Wars toys of all time, in my opinion. Something about it just really draws me to it. And I just picked it up. That's what I actually got this toy catalog out of. But there's some other cool ones in here. This Rancor is pretty cool. Tauntaun. Again, been hitting the gym. Pretty funny. Moving on here. Some more cool stuff. This AT-AT looks pretty cool. Same with that TIE Fighter. Pretty average stuff here you see a lot of. Now this is kind of cool. It's crazy to see these advertisements for these 12-inch figures because they don't really do a ton of the actual nice articulated ones anymore. Some of them look a little odd, like this Stormtrooper here, but this Luke doesn't look that bad to me, at least. I've never seen one in person, but doesn't look too terrible. And then just some sort of interesting carrying cases here. And then kind of moving on, this catalog also has some other things. Never heard of this Mummies Alive. Tell me down in the comments, do any of you guys recognize these from when you were a kid? They are very 90s. Some of these designs. And then we've got some baseball stuff here. Moving on here, we've got some G.I. Joes. Now these 12-inch G.I. Joes here were actually what got me into the 12-inch Star Wars figures. I collected these well before I was into Star Wars, so I have a ton of nostalgia for these types of figures. Pretty cool. Beast Wars. So I do recognize these. I never had any as a kid. Now I'm probably going to make some of you sort of angry, but I actually don't really like Transformers that much. For me, when I was a kid, I didn't like them because they were sort of never, they weren't a cool robot toy 100%, and they were never like a cool Scorpion. They never really looked like 100% like what they're supposed to be. And for whatever reason, that really turned me off for those toys. But here's some more here. I'll kind of explain what I mean. So like, if you see here, this Optimus Primal, he doesn't really look like, a gorilla here. And then whenever he's in robot form, he doesn't really look like a robot. So never really understood the appeal of these. And then they're always so hard to transform. I just never had any fun with them. Of course, you're feel free to disagree with me down in the comment section again. Got some Batman and Robin toys here. Man, Batman has really been hitting the gym there. And he's got some very absurd costumes. Like, what even is that? Green and yellow Batman. Pretty funny. Now some of this does look pretty cool. This Batmobile looks pretty cool. Moving on here. Some more Batman. I don't know what's up with the Joker there. He's huge. I'm sure there's probably a reason. I just don't know very much about Batman. And then here's some animated series stuff. Never watched the show, but again, really cool Batmobile. I've heard the show is really great though. Here's some stuff I have some nostalgia for. Jurassic Park. I had some of these dinosaurs from a later series. And one thing I always thought was interesting was a lot of them have like injuries. Like this one here, as you can see there's like, you know, he's got some like battle wounds on him. And I always thought that that was an odd decision. I don't know why they did that for, you know, all of them. But the one that I had as well had that injury on it. So don't really know what the point of that was. Again, just more Jurassic Park stuff. And then some Tonka stuff. I'll probably skip over this just because I never really played with this kind of stuff as a kid. And then here's some vintage Nerf. Look at those. Those are insane. Compared to what we have now. And then just some Nerf sports stuff. And then on the back some cool, crazy Nerf guns. Pretty funny. Anyway, let's get into some stuff that, you know, I really love. This was kind of the first time that I ever had any Star Wars toys was after Attack of the Clones came out. So, yeah, like right here, this Mace Windu was one of the first ones I ever had. They had the checklist. Now, I don't know about you, but whenever I was a little kid, I would actually check this stuff off in here, and I would circle in Sharpie or pen or whatever the figures that I wanted. I don't know. Let me know, do any of you guys do that? Some pretty cool stuff in here. Some of it has not aged well. Like, you know, like this guy here with his little force thing. Attack of the Clones had a ton of those, like, action features that I never really liked as a kid. I wish they, like, these crazy poses, like, what are you supposed to do with that figure? Like, as a collector, you can put that on the shelf and it looks cool, but as a kid, that's hard to play with. So I never liked that. Cool Nexu. Pretty cool. Little play sets. Some of the ships. This looks pretty cool here. I would have loved to have played with that as a kid. And this slave one, again, looks pretty cool. And the King Daddy. I always wanted one of these as a kid, and I didn't have my hand, I couldn't get a hold of one until recently, but this was like the pinnacle for me. I always wanted one, but they were just too expensive. I think it's one of the coolest Star Wars toys ever released, in my opinion. And then the Reek down here, again, pretty cool. These ships, pretty cool. I know a lot of people don't like the prequel movies, but I grew up with them, so I really have a lot of nostalgia for them. And then this playset here, pretty cool. I have a feeling this is one of those toys where, you know, as a kid looking at this catalog, you would have been like, whoa, that's so cool. But then whenever you get it, you're a little bit underwhelmed because it's probably a lot smaller than they make it look. But pretty cool nevertheless. And then some 12-inch figures. The Attack of the Clones line had some ones that are really good and some ones that are pretty bad. Like this Clone Trooper, not my favorite. Doesn't really look that great. In person, the armor is like way too big. But like this Jango here, that looks great, you know? Pretty cool looking figure. Again, some more. These ones don't look as good here. And then the Unleashed statues. These are, to this day, are still cool. As a kid, I didn't appreciate them as much because they aren't like a toy, but you know, looking back, I wish, like, look how cool that looks there. Really, really cool statues. And they weren't really that expensive either, which is pretty cool. What is this? R2-D2 Astromech Droid. Fully operational droid. That's pretty cool. Responds to more than 40 voice commands. I have a feeling that did not work very well because I believe this is from probably 2002. Yeah. So I suspect that this was a little underwhelming. I don't know, maybe some of you had this as a kid and you can tell me. Then lightsabers. I don't know about you guys, but I used to play with these all the time, having lightsaber battles with the neighbor kids and stuff. Always thought the Count Dooku one was really cool. Never had one though. And then some Star Wars themed board games. Kind of cool, but I'm really here for the action figures. And some trading cards. Just some other stuff there. Pretty cool. Another thing that I found, this isn't really a toy catalog so much, but this came with one of the Republic Gunships I've bought. This is a short story collection. Hasbro doesn't do anything like this anymore. Like when you open this up, this is like an actual book, which is crazy because you know it's just like a little pack-in thing, and they put so much effort into it. Now, obviously, a lot of it is an ad. I think this is for the just some like books that they released with the movies. But this has got like look at this. This is a full book. Crazy. And then here at the back, they've got some action figures. Some of them cooler than others. Like this ARC Trooper is pretty sweet. This Anakin, not so much. I don't really like the way that one looks. Kind of cool figures down here. Ooh, coming soon. Pretty mysterious, right? And this, let's see if I can get it in frame here. This Dirge looks pretty sweet. Wonder if I'll be able to track one of these down one day, review it. It looks pretty sweet. Pretty cool. I think somebody was actually asking me if there's a destroyer droid that rolls up into a full ball. I'll have to try and find that comment and tell them, because that looks like it's one that kind of curls up into a ball. Because most of the action figures don't actually do that. And then this 3-pack of Clone Troopers is pretty classic. I always loved how they're sort of fixed in this position. It's pretty cool. They look really nice in a display. And then some more droids down here. And then some more lightsabers. Again, the Count Dooku one was like, I always thought was just the coolest. And then some vehicles here. This is an excellent toy here. This one, really cool, looks awesome in a display. And now I've actually watched the original Clone Wars TV show and have some context for that. And then again, this Starfighter looks pretty cool. AT-AT, again, cool. Hailfire droid, cool. Man, Attack of the Clones had some really sweet vehicles. And then, of course, the king daddy of them all, Command Gunship. I own this one, the Revenge of the Sith one, and the standard release Attack of the Clones one. All of them are cool. I'd love to track them all down someday, but they're just getting so expensive. It's really hard to find them at, even a halfway decent price. Finally, Geonosian Starfighter, pretty cool. I'll have to track one of these down one day. It looks like a neat toy. And then on the back, ad for some Star Wars magazines. And then finally, a little story. I had some of the toys from Attack of the Clones, and I remember seeing them in stores, but I didn't really get into Star Wars until, around the time that Revenge of the Sith was hitting theaters. You see, like, I went to this, I don't know if you'd call it daycare. It was more like a summer camp type thing during the day, and or summer program rather. And all my friends there, one year I came back and they all were obsessed with Star Wars. And I didn't know a ton about Star Wars. I had a few of the toys from Attack of the Clones, but I didn't really know anything about it. And they were just so hyped, and so I was actually sort of peer pressured into liking Star Wars. And I didn't actually even see, I think I had seen Attack of the Clones, but I hadn't seen any of the other movies. So I had no idea what they were talking about, like with Darth Vader and stuff. I had no idea who he was. And so they peer pressured me into liking Star Wars. And I guess they sort of worked out for the better for me. They all moved on, but I sort of stuck with it. So definitely something that I have a ton of nostalgia for. Let's go ahead and take a look in here. Oh yeah, and classic design here with the cartoon Darth Vader head. So, ultimate lightsaber. Pretty cool here. Again, my favorite character probably from all of Star Wars is Obi-Wan, and I had this lightsaber. I got it from, one of my neighbors gave it to me, and I played with that thing like crazy. And again, one of the neighbor kids had this here, and I was always so jealous because I was like, oh man, that's that looks so cool. And then the action figures here. Revenge of the Sith was sort of a mixed boat for me. I think some of the figures hold up better than the other ones do. You know, like this clone trooper here I have, and it's, you know, it's a good toy. But, you know, some of these other ones don't hold up maybe quite as well. These clones down here, again, cool toys. I really love the Revenge of the Sith line, though. They had a ton of cool stuff. All these guys here. If it'll focus. Yeah. I just remember this was my first, or the first figure that I bought when all my friends were getting into Star Wars. Pretty cool. I still have it. I still think it's a great figure. One of the better versions of Obi-Wan in my opinion. Pretty cool. Darth Vader's, what do they call this? Meditation chamber. Pretty cool. Looks like it would make an awesome display. Crab droid. Haven't tracked one of these down, but it looks pretty sweet. I'll have to do that. I remember seeing one in store, but never had the money to buy it. Again, pretty cool. I love the animals of Star Wars. Would have loved to have picked this up. Clone Trooper. And then I own this. This is an awesome toy as well. And definitely would recommend tracking it down if you like the prequel stuff. And pretty cool playset here. Again, my opinions on playsets, I think that this is one of those things where you know, it looks awesome in the box and then you get it home and you're slightly underwhelmed. But I don't know. Let me know if you guys picked that up when you were a kid or even now. Then some sweet battle packs here. It's funny, these are some sort of dated figures. That one's from the Attack of the Clones there. Pretty cool though. I wish they would start doing these again. It's a cool way to pick up like a ton of characters, you know, that you wouldn't, you know, necessarily get a single card release or pick them up all at the same time. Like this one here is a pretty good pack for picking up troopers. And then the vehicles. Again, Revenge of the Sith had some awesome stuff. Like this Arc 170's really cool. The wheel bike. This was one that I always wanted as a kid and I could never find it for a good price. Until recently I found it for like 15 bucks, which is crazy. You know, new in box too. Plo Koon Starfighter, again, really cool. More stuff. I remember one of my friends' little brothers collected these and they had like all of them and they used to play with them. I remember as a kid thinking that they were kind of lame. I guess I was just too old. But looking back, they're kind of fun. I could see why a kid would like those. And then some of these larger figures. I had a Darth Sidious. Sort of an interesting thing. They didn't do very many of them, from what I remember. That same friend that had those little brothers used to collect these as well. I never got into these either. I only had a few of them. Let me know, did you guys collect these as a kid or did you pass on them? And then just some sort of, I don't even know, booster packs, so it must be a trading card game. And then Mr. Potato Head. I always thought that this was really funny. And then on the back some more Unleashed statues. Again, I think they're sort of underrated. A lot of them are really going up in price now, but I think that they were sweet. I actually have this one. Pretty cool stuff. So I know that this is a longer video. It's something different than what I normally do, but if you stuck around to the end, let me know, did you enjoy it? Do you want to see more videos like this one? I definitely have more of these somewhere. I can track them down and we can take a look at them if you guys are interested. So just let me know. And I guess I'll see you later.